aspirants, welcome to Anthropology Optional. Today we are going to discuss about day 3 answers. Okay, the chapter 1.3. So first come to the very first question. What do you understand by the terms applied action anthropology? Okay, so here question asking about the what do you understand. So remember this, and after that differences between the two. So now you can divide the question into two parts and write the answer. So, applied anthropology will be defined as organized interaction between the professional anthropology and policy making bodies, public and private. Write any three lines of introduction, minimum 3 to 4 lines. And here, see, remember, goals of applied anthro. It identify needs for change as perceived by local people and to work with the local people and to design and culturally appropriate changes. And this is very important. This to protect the local people from the harmful policies, including the destructive development schemes. Okay. See, Daniel Brinton, 1895, in his paper, The Aim of Anthropology, first introduced the concept of applied anthro. Even Pitchard studies the near of Sudan in Africa, suggested the Gauch strategies to consolidate colonial rule and without facing any resistance from the native people. This is the thing. And after that, Professor L.P. Vidyarthi, in his book Applied Anthro of India, suggested that an anthropologist was not merely a social doctor who diagnosed the evils of the society, but also social engineers who could successfully construct a healthy society. Okay, this is very important. And tribal society plan strategy based on the work and recommendations of two eminent anthropologists, L.P. Vidyarthi and S.C. Dubey, is the example of applied anthropology. Next, action anthropology. The term was coined by Saltex, okay, in 1957. In action anthropology, the anthropologists themselves are involved in planning and administrating policy of development, and they become agent of change directly, not depending on the other to use their knowledge. And next, second part of the question, differences between the action and applied anthropology. So in first part we covered those areas, applied and anthrop. Now the differences. So to come to the differences, action and applied anthropology. Action anthropology facilitate the work with the community to seek the solutions and thus more participatory. And applied anthropology, it's a less participatory, okay, and mainly proceed ready-made solutions only. And action anthro, it is not anyone associated but work as a member of the society. But come to the applied anthropology, it work as a society. Next, action anthropologist must be theoretical anthropologist, but with more participatory understanding. These 3 points are very important. See, listen, here I include the case study. This give them more marks. Okay. So case study, if you know any case study, just you can mention the important 1-2 lines only, not required to write pura case study. Okay. So here the case study in India, Professor L.P. Vidyarthi introduced the action anthro among the Bihar of Jharkhand. Okay. So both now conclusion, both applied and action anthropology are important, must be promoted. The Angela Charter, as they rightly said, that it has a anthropological approach that must be promoted, so that anyone willing to work for benefit of the society can become action anthropologists themselves. Okay, this is the first question. Read one more time. And next, come to the second question. So here linguistic anthropology. See, listen, here just I mention only linguistic anthropology. I'm not giving any extra question. So I ask about the linguistic anthropology. So you can write here as much as possibilities all areas of linguistic anthropology. Okay. So the linguistic anthropology is the one of the 4 subfield of anthropology as per the classification of whose French bias. Okay, it is mainly concerned with the relation between the language and culture and structural history and social use of language and evolution of language and development of the language and its relation with the speaker. Okay, see, Taylor. I used the Taylor research into the early history of mankind 1865 provide the breakthrough of the field and prepare between the blueprint for the subject matter of the field. So next I used background here, background and scope. So what is the important of background and scope? See, let's see. So until early decades 20th century, the branch was called anthropological linguistic, as it dealt with the origin and the classification of the language only as per the 20th century. But post 1950, it focused on shifted to studying the language as a vehicle of culture and the relation between the speech and the behavioral pattern. Okay. Next, Delmus, a prominent anthropologist, become among the first to rename the field to linguistic anthropology. Okay. Now, next, sub branches of linguistic anthropology: historical, linguistic, structural, social, physical, and ethno. Okay. Next, linguistic anthropology implies all the methods and techniques of socio-cultural anthropology. Okay. So, what is that? That is comparative method, class cultural and historical method, ethnographic method, and participatory observation. Next, come to the relevance. I used here relevance also. And linguistic anthropology, relatively short term, has contributed immensely in understanding the connection between the language and human behavior. Okay, and it has generated newfound applications of language. Okay, language role in human existing and its realization for the need of the conservation language, and especially for the tribals and indigenous groups. This is a very important. Next, through the applications of the highly techniques methods, the linguistic reconstruct the history of a particular language and uncover the historical relationships that exist among the language. Next, contemporary linguistic anthropology is interested in the study of evolution and destruction of the language is a part of culture in knowing the relations of the patterns of the action being and communicating as found the different culture. Okay, this is the second part. If you want if you know more information also, any case studies or any extra information you can add, but just focus on word limit and marks. Okay. Next, come to the archaeological anthropology. So, the question asking only archaeological anthropology. So, archaeological anthropology deals with the systematic relevance. Okay, sorry, systematic retrieval and analysis of cultural and non-cultural materials. It remains left behind by the existing of the humans for reconstructing their environment, culture, and society. For identify the process of the pattern of social, cultural, and evolution all over the world. Okay, next, what is the aim? So, reconstruct the prehistory part. What is the aim of archaeology? So, we should reconstruct the prehistory part and early history settings of a humankind from emergency of the civilization. Okay, next, what is the scope? Unlike the socio-cultural anthropology, archaeology cannot observe the human behavior and culture directly, but it can reconstruct from the material demands. Next, excavate prehistory sites and collect the artifacts created by man and remote part. Example, Swan Valley. Next, the chronology can be determined by various methods. Okay, the chronology is determined by the various method in order to understand the socio-cultural religious benefits. Example, this is very important. Burial. If you write the example, you will get the more marks. Burial pattern reflect that they had the faith in life and after the death. This is very important. You can use in this example in archaeological part. Also, and shed the light on economic activities. Example, presence of a sickle indicates the crop pattern. After that, archaeological anthropology is divided into four branches, that is the prehistoric archaeological anthropology, text added and text free, and after that savage. So just read about this. Prehistoric archaeological anthropology, it reconstructs the origin, evolution, diffusion of culture in the period between the first appearance of the human and the development of writing. Next, text added. So, reconstruct the ancient civilization that developed the art of writing and utilize the writing account and textual description of the sources of the material. Next, text free, concerned with the non-literate people. For this, no text as if written. Material will be available to guide excavation. What required is actual digging. Next, savage. Obtain the information from the sites threatened by the destructions as a result of either natural or human activities. Next, come to the relevance. What is the relevance? From archaeological, we know the socio-cultural life which enable to understand the origin and evolution of the human culture behavior. Next, it's help to know climatic pattern and geological distribution of the remote past. And use the tool techniques helps to know the pattern of behavior and build the culture from the different part of the world. So solution. Archaeological anthropology existing cultural and non-cultural evidence from the earth status and use for it study the human past in holistic manner. Okay, thank you.